Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. This is Rebecca from Seawolf Sustainability Consulting, and I'm really pleased today to be talking to Nicolas. So, Nicolas, please introduce yourself.
Hello, so my name is Nicolas Debons. I am 45 years old, and maybe I introduce myself more on a professional perspective. So I'm currently the degree head in a University of Applied Sciences in Western Switzerland for a degree which is business IT. So basically we teach people how to program, etc. So computer science plus all the business layer around it. But previous to that, I was working for, I think, 16 years for Credit Suisse. Yeah, I have some good experience with that company and with that kind of industry as well.
Indeed, and something we have in common. So I worked at Credit Suisse too, and maybe just if you could speak a little bit about what you were doing when you were in banking. What was your role?
So I had many roles, in fact. I started quite early in banking when I was 20 years old. In fact, I was finishing my, I don't know how to say in English, my college is before going to university. And I was registered to university, but during the summer, I was doing my military service. As in Switzerland, we have to do military service. And after that one, I decided, no, I don't want to continue studying now. I want to work. And so I applied for many jobs, and yeah, really a little bit like I didn't know really what I was applying for and where and so on. I didn't have a real career plan. The only things I knew was I want to work. And then I found a job in the back office at Credit Suisse. So I was doing settlement, so between different markets, so for all the operation between Credit Suisse and the other banks. So I was calling UBS London, sometimes a bank in Italy, etc. That was my first role as a bank. So there, I would say that was really a great chance. When you are 20 years old, you can kind of get hired by a company without you don't have any experience. So I had the chance that Credit Suisse trust me at this time and gave me this opportunity, and it was great for me. So I could learn languages, I could learn really how the banks are working, what's trading, etc. So I learned a lot of things. And after some time, I decided, okay, I want to go back and continue studying, and then I studied business IT for 3 years full time before trying to find another job. And then I found another job, but this time again at Credit Suisse in Zurich. And this time it was really in the IT world. And I was more on the financial aspects, so or what was accounting, and we were developing systems for accountants and regulatory reporting as well.
Wow, and quite some experience, and yeah, interesting IT roles there. So yeah, how was this experience? How did it look and feel when you were in those different roles?
I was very positive all the time. I was very pleased to work for such a bank, because as a Swiss, I grew up with this idea, yeah, Credit Suisse, UBS, or they are really the big banks, really, it was kind of a good feeling. And I really appreciate as well the way they took the employees the first day, the onboarding and everything. So it was really, really great. I had really a good experience, and I could learn a lot of things. And I was working always with teams which were very, very interesting, very diverse in terms of nationality, in terms of as well background. Yeah, I really enjoyed that period. I learned throughout this experience, and from a perspective which I stay a little bit. I stay in Switzerland for some times, and then I had the opportunity as well to work in Singapore, and I was managing a team in Singapore for some times, and then I had the opportunity as well to travel to New York, to London. So I see different aspects of it. I could travel. As a learning experience nowadays, when I am teaching, because I'm a professor as well, so I'm teaching to my students, I really encourage them to really try to make that kind of experience, and because I have only positive things. It's clear there are negative things, and it's clear that there were some really hard moments. Obviously, when you do a career, you are project management or program manager, you have a lot of stress, a lot of constraint, a lot of sometimes nonsense in some decision which are taken, and you try to fight against those one, and you cannot make your point, even though it's all logical, and you are frustrated and so on. So of course there are those things which happens, which is part of the job, but that's not the remaining things that stay in my mind when I think about my career. The remaining thing is really about all the things I learned through that experience, and all the good things which were associated with that long experience, in fact.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I can share some of that myself when I think about looking back, and it's definitely a great learning experience. And as you mentioned, you had a few different roles and you were in the industry for some time. So how did you see it evolve during that time, maybe from the beginning when you joined to the point when you decided to move on and do something different?
Yeah, I could see a certain evolution, but I don't know if it is an evolution because of the company evolved, or the financial market evolved, or it is an evolution because I kind of grew in my roles and had more responsibility, and I had maybe a brighter vision of the things. So I don't know the cause of this evolution, if it is just me would see it evolving because I evolve in the position, or really an evolution of the market. So I cannot position that one. But what I could see is that the feeling I had is that at the beginning, it was when I started, I had the impression there was less turnover among the employees. There were more kind of mindset of a little bit more long-term thinking about. I could saw some very interesting things. When I started, I was really pleased to start there. I was working at Seawolf, which is a big center. So it was about 4,000 employees at that time, then grow a little bit, but 4,000 employees. And there was a post service, for example, in an intern post service. So Credit Suisse was really having this Credit Suisse employees working as a postman or postwoman. And I could saw some people that at that time, it was in the 1999, in the post-service, there were as well people who were employed with handicap. And there were really a kind of social thinking about it. And we were all proud to work for Credit Suisse. And as you are a bank employee on the trading floor, or you are a postman, you are the label kind of Credit Suisse. It's a kind of a big industry there, but you are all proud of working for that company. And they didn't wait it until the big DEI initiative to have that. It was just human and normal that we will do that kind of things. And then I saw maybe an evolution where those big companies, but I guess in other industry it was the same, they start kind of changing the organization, externalize a lot of things to try to be more productive and more things, which very often it's not the case. It's not more productive. It costs more. In fact, very often it costs more. You have the impression it is faster, but I'm not sure about all those theory. So I had this impression. Maybe I'm nostalgic. Maybe I'm an old guy who say, "Oh, it was better in the past." I don't know. I hope not. But I really had this impression before. It was more kind of a family culture, kind of. You identify yourself to the company. There is less turnover, and then I could see a shift. That we had more and more consultant coming. We had less and less things done in-house, more and more offshoring, outsourcing. And that breaks this kind of culture and way you identify with the company. I saw a lot of people coming for 2 years, going after 2 years. They make their stuff, they take their bonus, they go, and that's it. And there is no more kind of a real, you identify to the company. Obviously, with maybe a Swiss background, with my way I take the job, I was kind of a little bit more kind of identifying myself and proud of being working for that bank. But I really learned a lot. I had a lot of opportunities to make some trainings, internal trainings, and there were some very interesting things and some real values. I just had an example I prepared before. It was something that I took. I don't know if you read it on the right side or not. but it was the quality standards in German of SKA. SKA was Schweizerische Kreditanstalt before it becomes Credit Suisse. And they say every client, we prepare everything. We have really our standards, our things. And yeah, I really like that kind of professionalism and everything. So I'm a little bit nostalgic about that time, maybe. I saw the things changing. I saw as well more positive things on those change in the sense that we could have more culture, more diversity, and we could open ourselves to some other things to go to from the Swiss culture to a more international culture. But yeah, that's how I saw the evolution.
Yeah, that it makes a lot of sense. And again, I think I can share some of that evolution, whatever the cause may be. I think that there's a whole set of reasons and rationale. Interesting. And you mentioned with the quality standards, one of the takeaways. Were there any other particular takeaways that you took as you left, whether it was good or bad? Anything that comes to mind?
So while what I take from this long experience there is, I think I developed a lot about, it opened my minds on other culture a lot. The fact that I could work, that I had the chance to work with other culture and everything, I could kind of, yeah, open my mind, put my own culture in question sometimes in some aspect. In order just to produce a better work when you are a team with a diverse team. I think these kind of things came through that experience. And that's some stuff that today I try really to bring in my IT programs for my students. It's really something I'm teaching project management. And as part of project management, we discuss about teams and interaction and how do you integrate different teams. And I really try to provoke situation for my students where I bring them in contact with students from other university and to have to work together on teams, on virtual teams and so on. So that's something that I really try take from that good experience, because I saw it's not so easy to work with different culture. And I really try to reproduce those conditions and to kind of coach them and help them to pass these boundaries of your own culture. That's really something that today I'm a strong advocate of interculturality and all those things. And I really want to bring that kind of mindset to the younger generation. So that's, I think, the biggest things that I take today, and I try to bring it back to the students there. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And you've been sharing a little bit as I've gone along about what you do now, but perhaps, yeah, you could share a bit more where you are, what you're doing, and maybe day to day, how that looks.
Yeah. So I quit Credit Suisse after 16 years. And it's not because I was bored of my job, because in every job I start, I really get passionate about it. Even if it is boring, it could look boring job, but I kind of get inside it and try to, and really find a passion out of it. And I invest myself a lot in those things. So I was in a team in the EPFL in Lausanne on working for Credit Suisse in some project regulatory reporting for the FINMA for Credit Suisse. It was very interesting, a lot of challenge to bring a team together, which was not working in the past. So I arrived there and tried to make some connection. It was, yeah, it was interesting. A lot of pressure, of course, which is the case in the industry. But at a certain point, I was just thinking, okay, now I have 16 years of experience for Credit Suisse. So I've only worked for one company my whole life. I was almost 40 at that age. And I was thinking, okay, I don't want to be in this position when I will be 50, that somebody tell me, thank you, you did a good job for your 20 years there, but we don't need you anymore. So I had this need of kind of, yeah, somehow I need to change a little bit something in my life. I want to experiment something different. And there was this opportunity that I saw to take the lead of the school, the program where I studied myself 20 years before. So as I had an industry experience, I did as well some study in between. I did an MBA, an academic MBA while I was working for Credit Suisse. I did that kind of things. And I saw, oh, that's a great way now to kind of try to bring, to take something, to give something back to those younger generation. I saw, when I was working for Credit Suisse, I spent a lot of time at that moment for kind of training the younger people, the junior people there, and I really appreciate the time to discuss with them, to share experience, to exchange ideas, to be challenged as well by them. So it was a part of my job that I appreciated as a project leader or team leader when I was hiring young people from the university and so on. I really took the time and make the time for them because I truly think it's important. And then I had this opportunity to scale up that experience in a real context as a professor and degree head, and that was quite appealing, and but as well quite scary, because I had no experience in teaching. The first time you are in front of 30 students and you are the teacher, you never did that in your, it's kind of scary. You are there, yes, you have a background, you have experience to share, you have some learnings as well, some academic background, you have something, but you have to trust yourself and you have to find your role there. So it was quite scary to make such a jump. I make as well a sacrifice, a financial sacrifice, but because obviously in the financial services you have a good salary, so you have a certain standard of life that goes to that. And in taking my position, I did more than, I think less than 20% in my income for taking this position. So it was a point where I say, okay, I made that kind of sacrifice. I go in an industry I don't know, education, university, research. I knew that there was something appealing because I'm still in the IT, still technology, innovation, those things are very interesting. So I'm doing a little bit of research as well as a professor on the side. So it was an opportunity for me to learn a new role and to try to take some of the stuff I learned to try to transmit and orient the things. So quite scary move, but very interesting move. It took me some time to adapt, of course, but through my experience with taking new teams and all those things, I was kind of used to go from one team to another, and then you take one position to another. You can kind of adapt, listen to the people, and just be yourself in your new role.
Yeah, exactly. And on paper, some people might look at that move and think being a professor and also working in a bank, maybe there's not so many things which are common between those two situations. And you've mentioned a few examples, but I'm curious, were there other things which really were complementary from your time in financial services and that you continue to use today?
I think I'm still in IT. So now it was for me an opportunity, because I took some management staff from team lead, project management, program management. So where you kind of get out of the technology kind of perspective. Now I have the opportunity to go back a little bit back, not in the code, I'm not coding by myself, but a little bit closer to the people who are doing that, and it's a passionate field, because now with AI and all the development, and we have researcher at the Research Institute in Informatics here at the University of Applied Sciences in Valais, which are really on top of their field. So it's really a passion to talk to them, and we have as well startups starting all the time with students involved. We have program for students called Business Experience, where they have 1 year to build a startup. So it's really interesting. And what I can take from my perspective, from my experience to that, is maybe the structure, maybe all the learnings I saw, and all the good practices I saw into such a bank. I was in regulatory reporting, but it's incredible how the number of control you have to go through. We were at Credit Suisse under SOX 404. So for all the financial IT program, there were many checks, many things. The level as well of how do you manage the rights of the user on systems, and all the approvals that you have and all the things. So they had really good practices, because obviously of Swiss secrecy and everything regarding security, segregation of rights between the people, and so a lot of things that I can today transmit and help as well some small and medium company to get a little bit more compliant, even though they don't have to follow SOX 4.4, but some principles, some stuff, something. So that's a lot of experience that I can take out of that to share and to make all the companies in all the fields better.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And yeah, again, I think firsthand, I've probably had experience of some of the controls, and yeah, there can be really a lot. There's a lot to learn about all of that too, for sure.
Yeah.
And final question, thinking about what you're doing today, and maybe looking back, if you could go back and give your former self some advice from when you were perhaps in the middle of your career and in the bank, what would you say? Is there anything else you'd like to add around these topics?
No, I wouldn't change anything. I will really tell, please continue like this, because I was always in sync with my values. So I had some really hard situation. We were, for example, in some projects, some task force where we were working day and nights to deliver something which was very important. So it happens to me to be at 3 in the morning with 10 IT developers in the same room to finish some stuff, and you motivate your person. And sometimes I was kind of close to, not burnout, but physical kind of, you go really to the limit on a physical perspective. I never cross, obviously it is limit, so that's good. There were some that kind of hard moment, but I wouldn't change too much about that. Maybe I could have go smoother about it, but I wouldn't change so much. I think I was always doing some choice, and when I did my choice, I always looked myself in the mirror. That was important for me. I saw some people, I was obviously as well interested of making a career. I did a good career. It took more time than other people. To be honest, I saw some other people who really jump the steps there, and I was a little bit frustrated sometimes and say, yeah, this guy, he's not so honest, and he's kind of trying things and going a little bit faster than me. But for me, my pace was the right pace, because I could always look myself in the mirror and say, I did the right choice. My career may take a longer time. Maybe I will not go so high with some other people, but I'm in front of my mirror and I'm proud about what I see there. And that's what's very important for me.
Yeah, wow. Well, thank you. And yeah, absolutely agree. I think sort of living by values and being able to look at yourself in the mirror is just so important. I really appreciate the time today. Thank you so much. It's been so insightful and really interesting to hear.
Good. So have a good day and goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye.